When I was growing up, I didn't know about glossophobia because it's such a big word. I might know a little about what phobia means. It means you have a fear about something. You have anxiety. You worry about things, whether they are tangible or intangible, real or imagined. But that is not to say that as we grow up in life, we don't have phobias. We do. And I can remember that when I started school, I have this sophophobia. Now, if you don't know, sophophobia means a fear of studying. So obviously, you can imagine, I didn't do quite well in school. If you already have that phobia, you believed it, you stop studying. Until my father brought out the cane. Those days they have this rotan. So I've got quite a number of them, beatings. And I learned to endure pain. So that's a benefit from getting caned. And then there is the other thing that I found out about myself as I grew up. I have sociophobia. This is a fear of mixing with people. I discovered that I actually don't like company. I feel awkward if I'm in the company of people, whether friends or acquaintances, or even strangers. Perhaps because they say I'm an introvert, but that's not true. I can speak and converse and interact with people if I want to. But I prefer my own company. Even now, I can say that I actually enjoy being alone so much that every time I have to come to this meeting, I have so much fear and trepidation and anxiety because I have to mix with all of you. I have to see you. I am such a nervous wreck. That is my phobia. Up to now, I cannot get rid of it. And the other thing that I discovered that I have was this fear. I call it, well, it's called hematophobia. It's a fear of blood. And that was before, when I was very, very young. As an infant, I already had that fear. I couldn't manifest it in words until I grew up and went to school. I knew I had this phobia because when my dad caned me, sometimes blood will streak out because my skin will break because he whacked me so hard, my dad. And that's when it freaked me out because I saw blood, it freaked me out. That forces me to study. And so I managed to finish school, university, until today. So in a way, it's good. But in life, we also go through other phobias. I have what is called a glossophobia. This is the fear of clowns. It happened after I read Stephen King's IT book, It. Read it, it was so graphic that I never come near any clowns. Every time you go to a mall, you see a clown, I will make a 180-degree turn and withdraw myself. That is how much I fear clowns. And that's not all. I also have this fear of agoraphobia. Agoraphobia means fear of open spaces. If you put me in the middle of nowhere, or on a beachfront, or at the top of a building just by myself, I have this fear that I'm alone in this world. And that can be scary. There are many of us who suffer from this phobia, but we couldn't find the words to express it. And of course, I remember the worst fear of it all is acrophobia, the fear of heights. I didn't know I had that until one day I delivered one speech at a Toastmasters meeting. I was talking about mental health and suicide. And to demonstrate it, I stood upon a chair to jump down onto the floor. It was just a low chair. And so when I jumped, then I realized I fell and I was in tears. Because I discovered even at 3 feet, I was afraid of heights. That was how bad it was. Then, as an adult, I learned that I have no more phobia. Because these days we are so attached to our mobile phones, smartphones. No more phobia means the fear of not having your smartphone with you or not having a signal when you need to use your phone. We are so attached to it, it's becoming an appendage to us. Look, I'm delivering a speech and I'm still holding my phone. That's how scary it is. And even today, because as you grow old, you sometimes forget, you may misplace your phone. I have realized how anxious I've become because I can't find my phone. I'd rather be without a heart or a brain, but I must have my mobile phone. That's how bad it is. And of course, the other thing is I have the claustrophobia. Of course, we all know what claustrophobia is. Fear of confined spaces or tight spaces. That's why I've decided when I die, no one shall bury me in a coffin. I'd rather be cremated and my ashes thrown into the ocean because I cannot imagine my body being encased in a coffin. Even though I may be dead, I think I would still be aware if you happen to believe that. And of course, finally, I realized in life you have to make speeches. I was involved in student activities. I was involved in lots of activities where you have to deliver speeches. But those days, speeches were very simple, straightforward, and just short, terribly short. But these days, after joining SAL, you learn that speeches must have takeaway message, must have meaning and purpose. So it's not that easy. But I